So today I wanted to talk about finding the courage to speak honestly and also to relinquish the tendency to be a people pleaser. Many of us have the tendency to withhold the full truth from people. We're afraid to express how we truly feel, what we really think, what our needs are, or whether or not a boundary has been crossed. We're hesitant to express important information about our internal worlds to other people because we've been taught that self-abandonment is the way to gain approval or to gain acceptance. Some of us also have the belief that we are responsible for regulating other people's emotions for them, and therefore we must always people please. We must never tell someone what they don't want to hear because we feel like we need to protect their feelings at all costs. And while, yes, it is a great thing to be considerate of other people's feelings, because no one wants to be that person who is completely ignorant of how they impact everyone around them and annoy the heck out of people. Like, you don't want to be like that. But when taken to the extreme and taken to the point where you're no longer living authentically and honestly, and you are no longer feeling like you have integrity and you start to lose your self-respect and your dignity, that's when you know that you've taken it too far and that you need to learn how to feel more comfortable again with stepping into your truth and having the courage to express it. I have always personally struggled with expressing myself honestly or at all. Not just because I have a more reserved or inhibited personality, but because at a very young age, I learned to be afraid to share my emotions. I felt like it wasn't okay, and I just never felt comfortable with it. So when I was younger, I was bullied a lot, and my mom gave me some advice for how to best respond to these bullies. And she told me that the best way to respond is to just not react. Like, don't show your emotions, because a reaction is exactly what these bullies are trying to elicit from me. In a way, I can kind of see where she was coming from. Like, if I got angry and I yelled back, it could have possibly escalated the tension even more and increased the conflict, maybe. And if I cried, I might look weak and I might give the bully the satisfaction of successfully intimidating me or something. And so, yeah, I can totally see where my mom was coming from in terms of thinking that this advice would be helpful. And she meant well. She really did. The only thing is that as a child, I took her advice to the extreme where I applied that principle to all emotions. So it wasn't just feelings that you would normally label as negative, like anger or sadness, that I was afraid to show, but even positive feelings like excitement or affection. I have struggled with expressing these emotions too, because in my mind as a child, I made it a rule in my head that expressing all emotions would leave me vulnerable. And so to protect myself at all costs, I should just not show emotion, to just be a wall. And so I trained myself to have a perpetual poker face. On the contrary, if I expressed anger and if I actually said something back to the bully, maybe I would have escalated the situation. Maybe. But the benefit of that is just hearing my own voice stand up for myself would have instilled in me a sense of self-respect and a sense that I was safe. Because growing up, because I never expressed these emotions, I perpetually felt defenseless, like having to watch myself get stomped on and not feeling like I could say anything about it just made my sense of self-respect go down, down the drain, really. And it made me feel even more vulnerable around people, that I didn't feel properly protected by appropriate boundaries. I felt very fragmented. Like, there was such a huge discrepancy between the person that I displayed externally versus how I truly felt and who I was inside. Like, if you know that song in Mulan called Reflection, where she's like, when will my reflection show who I am inside? That song really resonates with me, and no, I am not gonna sing it right now because even though I'm Filipino, believe it or not, I cannot sing. I felt incongruent. I felt like I was disintegrated, like literally no integration between my outside and my inner world. I just felt so hidden and so suppressed and so unknown and unseen because I never let anyone see the real me. I never showed how I really felt and what I really thought. I was a chameleon and desperate for approval and acceptance, that I would just do everything I could to tell people what I thought they wanted to hear in order to get on their good side. And I would never tell someone what I knew they didn't want to hear, even though they probably should, because again, I felt like I was responsible for protecting their emotions and regulating their feelings for them, even at the expense of my own truth and my own honesty. And I always felt threatened and never safe to express my emotions. All the acceptance that I got, I felt was fragile and superficial because I felt like I was being accepted for the people-pleasing chameleon that I portrayed myself to be rather than who I truly was. And so I never felt truly loved. I never trusted and rested fully in the acceptance that I got. And all these times of abandoning myself repeatedly and never establishing boundaries and never speaking honestly just led me to feel like I was rejecting myself more and more. And it was no wonder I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin. Part of the reason we develop these self-abandoning tendencies is early childhood experiences. Sometimes it's the influence of our family, but also the influence of our culture. So I am ethnically Filipino. My parents grew up in the Philippines, so I've grown up in exposed to the Filipino culture for sure. And being straight up about how you really feel is definitely not something I see very often. At least among the Filipinos that I know. Of course, I don't want to overgeneralize. Not everyone is like that. I'm sure there's a plenty of assertive Filipinos. But from what I've been exposed to, it's almost like an unwritten rule to just not say how you really feel, even though everyone kind of knows, but you have to just beat around the bush, you know? For example, if you were at home and your family friends just showed up uninvited at your door saying, let's have a party, and you know that this is the worst time for them to show up uninvited because you have a work deadline or you just wanted to go to sleep or something, you just do not feel comfortable saying that. One option is you may straight up lie and you say, oh, we would really love to let you into our house, but my husband is feeling sick right now. Right? Cough a little, cough, It's like you have to straight up lie because you can't tell your friends that you just aren't ready to have them come over at your house. You just can't say it, so you have to lie. Or you pretend that it's okay and you say, oh yeah, come in, here, eat all this food, even though you know that food is actually the food you reserve for your family for the rest of the work week. But no, you're pretending that it's okay. You're giving them your food, and now you're like inside feeling so much resentment for the fact that they show up uninvited. The resentment builds and builds until eventually it causes rifts in your relationship with people, unspoken rifts. And so they may not even know that you feel hurt about something that happened 2 years ago, and yet it's there. And it causes all this drama that could be avoided if you just said no, if you just asserted yourself, if you just had boundaries, and if you're just honest and transparent about how you really feel. Withholding the truth doesn't only impact myself, it impacts the people around me. And in fact, telling the truth to people can really improve the situation or improve even their lives, you know? People need to hear these things. That's why it's called tough love. It's still love. And so yeah, that's something that I really needed to learn to wrap my head around, in that ultimately, regardless of what you might think, speaking the truth is beneficial for everyone. Even if at the moment it may cause tension, even if at the moment it might cause rifts in your relationships with people, it at least allows you to be free, allows you to put your cards on the table, allows you to vet who really should stay in your life and who shouldn't. Who needs to learn how to regulate their emotions. And so what I'm trying to say through this video is, yes, expressing your emotions really is vulnerable. Like, it does leave you vulnerable. I'm not even gonna lie about that. But in the long run, it's a lot healthier to just speak honestly because of many reasons. One is the amount of self-respect that you get to build and to hold on to every time you act with integrity and there's alignment between what you express in the world and who you are inside. When there's congruence between that, it is amazing in terms of the confidence and the sense of feeling at home in your own skin can be. So do it for yourself. Two, being honest is beneficial for everyone in the long run. It allows people to have a chance to improve their lives, or for organizations or whatever to improve their operations, if you just give honest feedback, as long as it's respectful. Three, you can also develop intimacy with people, like genuine, you can trust that someone truly loves you or accepts you when you've shown them who you really are, and they're fine with it. And they still love you and they still grow with you, and that's fine. That's how you know it's real acceptance, and you no longer have to struggle with the insecure, shallow approval that you only enjoy because you feel like you fooled everyone into liking you. Like, you avoid all of that just by being authentic and being genuine and being who you really are. I'm not saying that you should just be inconsiderate of other people and just spit out your truth even in a very disrespectful way and expect things to be okay, because that is not okay. Like, at the end of the day, maybe I'll make another video about this, but there is a very real difference between being aggressive versus being assertive. Like, being honest doesn't mean being a jerk, essentially. So I'm not saying that being considerate about other people's feelings isn't good. What I'm saying is that when you take it to the extreme and you're overly accommodating, overly considerate, to the point that you abandon yourself and you lack a sense of dignity, that's when you know that you should achieve a balance and learn to embody your truth and speak honestly and express yourself while also doing it with tact. So that's it for this video. There is so much that could be unraveled even more. It kind of frustrates me that it's hard to do that all in one video. So I'll probably make other videos that talk or expand on certain aspects of this one, but I just wanted to get my ideas out there. I hope that you can relate to some of these experiences, and I hope that this serves as a nice reminder to have the courage to express yourself, because you deserve to be known, you deserve to be seen, you deserve to be loved. So yeah, that's it for this video. I hope that you found value in it, and if you did, please do share it with people who you think this video can resonate with. And also, please do comment, like, and subscribe, and stay tuned and engage with me in the comments and let me know what your journey has been like in terms of finding the courage to speak up and to express yourself. And yeah, until next time, I will see you then.